Okay, there we go. I've got 1900. Let's get started with this week's net. ZS6 OPS standing by for any check-ins. Okay, let's see if anybody is out there tonight. ZS6 OPS standing by for check-ins. It seems like it's going to be a quiet night. Let's hear anybody else out there. ZS6 OPS standing by for check-ins. Okay, 1903. Any check-ins for tonight's weekly nets? There's 6 IPS standing by. Okay, acknowledging ZS6 FPS. Good evening there, Pierre. I take it Christelle is with you and hello to you as well. 1903. Let's see if there's anybody else out there. ZS6 OPS standing by. Okay, 1904. Last call for check. Second last call. Sorry for checking. ZS6 OPS standing by. Okay, last call for check-ins. ZS6 OPS standing by. Hey, Pierre, how's it, man?
Hi, good evening, Chad. No, good and you.
Good, good. Okay, let's get started. Okay, I've got 1905. Actually, just ran away with me there. 1906. Good evening, everybody. It is today the 6th of August, 2023. Time is, as I say, actually 1906 on the one, 1905 on the other. So somewhere in between it. I'd just like to say good evening, and that this net is broadcast every Sunday evening starting at 1900. And it is broadcast specifically for the benefit of radio amateurs, disaster relief cert volunteers, and members of the general public. And therefore, it is open to all interested parties. Everyone is welcome to participate using either amateur radio, Zoom, or both. And I'd like to remind all radio amateurs who have not checked in that you do not need to be a member of any group or club to check in or to use the repeater or any of the amateur radio bands. All that is required from you is that you have a valid amateur radio license issued by IPASA, which automatically grants you the right to use any of the amateur radio bands at any time. There is no need to ask for or be granted permission from anyone to use the repeaters or amateur bands. I'd also like to encourage all the listeners and participants to share the weekly net Zoom link with everyone they know throughout South Africa. Doing so will help us grow the weekly net and will contribute to disseminating the information as far and wide as possible. Okay, so it's time to unpack the weekly COVID-19 figures. And just a quick reminder that many tracking sites have closed down, including the NICD. That's just a quick reminder. And I can only provide information now that is provided by the World Health Organization. And on that note, globally, 768,983,095 cases were reported by the World Health in the last week leading up to 1:56 a.m. in the morning on the 2nd of August 2023. This, of course, is compared to the 768,560,000 odd cases in the previous week. We saw an increase of 422,368 cases compared to the previous week's 322,000. So a bit concerning that an additional 100,000 have been reported globally. The global death toll now stands at 6,953,743 compared to last week's 6,952,000. That's an increase of 1,221 cases. This is also up compared to the previous week, which stood at 845. Okay, ZS6OPS returning. Now, Mpox, for some reason, hasn't updated since the 24th of July. So I'm not going to give any figures for this week. We still stand at 88,600 cases globally as at the 24th of July. Measles, on the other hand, yeah, right. Here's where the catch-22 comes in. As I said last week, we had one case, and of course the figures have changed again. This week they've changed in such a way that there's absolutely no change for the third week in a row. We still seem to stand at 1,118 cases. Well, actually 1,115, as the table does not tabulate correctly. Still can't understand how 2 + 2 is equal to 6. So that's the story with regards to the measles. It seems the NICD and not World Health, Department of Health, the National Department of Health, are not updating those figures either. Okay, ZS6OPS returning. Let's move on with some other World Health Organization news. This week, the WHO has provided feedback on multi-country outbreak of cholera in its external situation report number 5, dated 4 August 2023. Since the last situation report on the multi-country outbreak on cholera, which was published on the 6th of July, covering data reported until 15 June, and as of 15 July 2023, one new outbreak of cholera was reported from India on the 15th of May 2023. In total, however, 25 countries have reported reported cases since the beginning of this year. Now, the overall capacity to respond to the multi and simultaneous outbreaks continues to be strained due to the global lack of resources, including the shortages of the oral cholera vaccine, OCV, and cholera supplies, as well as overstretched public health and medical personnel who are dealing with multi-parallel disease outbreaks and other health emergencies. Okay, ZS6IP is returning. Now, based on the large number of outbreaks and their geographic expansion, as well as a lack of vaccine and other resources, the WHO continues to assess the risk of global level as very high. Or at least I should say the WHO continues to assess the risk at global level as very high. So that is something that we still need to consider, even though the cases for cholera in South Africa I have not reported on, because again, the NDIH and NRCD have not provided any figures again this week. So a bit difficult to actually report on something that doesn't seem to be of concern nationally, even though we last stood at about 166 cases nationally. All right, so ZS6IP is returning. The World Health Organization has also commented on the El Nino effect on the world as quoted. So the public health situation analysis reads as follows. The Public Health Situation Analysis, PHSA, covering July to September of 2023. I'm trying to figure out how we get to 2023, September, when we're still in August, identifies the current and potential health impacts that vulnerable populations may face as a result of the global El Nino climate event and describes health systems' capacities to respond. The ongoing El Nino is highly likely to have wide-ranging health implications on a global scale. In the coming months, the most severe health threats are likely to arise from malnutrition due to ongoing food insecurity, compounded by the effects of El Nino, heat stress, environmental pollution, cholera, and other diarrheal diseases. Detailed information on key health threats and at-risk countries is presented throughout the document. ZS6IP is returning. The WHO acts as part of a UN-wide coordination and monitoring mechanism for El Nino and supports countries through programmatic work to address key health threats and via direct support to countries. Now, for interest's sake, I thought everybody would actually find this quite fascinating. El Nino. During El Nino, trade winds weaken. Warm water is pushed back east toward the west coast of the Americas. Let me say that again. Warm water is pushed back east toward the west coast of the Americas. Now, El Nino means little boy in Spanish, whereas on the other hand, La Nina means little girl in Spanish. La Nina is also sometimes called El Vijo, anti-El Nino, or simply a cold event. Well, perhaps that's where the cold shoulder expression was derived from. I thought that was something everybody might find interesting. Okay, ZS6IP is returning. Now, in closing, I'd like to encourage everyone to register as a disaster relief cert volunteer and to prepare and train to assist local communities when disaster strikes. And that being said, if there are any other radio amateurs out there that have not checked in as yet, please provide your call sign and I'll add you to the bottom of the list. ZS6OP is standing by.
Greetings.
Hello, got you there, Adrian. Okay, nothing else heard. We have got ZS6FPS and ZS6SNY up on Zoom as well tonight. On that note, I'd like to thank all of those that have checked in this week, and especially to those who have just listened but have not checked in. I would appreciate it if you did. At least we'd know you are there. You don't need to be shy or hide yourself. Nobody's going to beat you up. Well, I don't know so much about that, but you're more than welcome to actually join us. You won't be beaten up by us. Now, as the COVID-19 pandemic is still ongoing, is still infecting thousands weekly, please remember to physically distance yourself and to wear a mask when you are around others, especially the elderly, because they're the ones that are still susceptible to losing their lives if they do get infected with COVID-19. And remember that it is always best to sanitize or wash your hands in any event. Doing so will assist in stopping the spread of other respiratory diseases as well. So for the week moving forward, be safe, be prepared, and of course, be happy. This is ZS6OPS now releasing the Relaport repeater for general use. Cheers all. Okay, so let's say done on that. We can close that down, bring this forwards, stop the video so that I don't have to worry so much about my